Hi there, Dean Linnell here with the Linnell Group at the Whistler Real Estate Company. And I wanted to welcome you to the Whistler Real Estate Ask Me Anything show, where I answer all your Whistler real estate questions. So let's jump right into it today with today's topic. Now, we tend to get a lot of questions from people about where the buyers in Whistler come from. Who's buying property here? Where are they from? And there's a common misconception that a lot of the buyers that come up to Whistler and purchase property everywhere are from the States or perhaps from overseas. And it's a flood of foreign investment here. And that's just simply not the case. We've been looking at all the statistics. We've been covering this since the early 90s when we started to actually look at all the data from what buyers are actually coming up here and analyzing it all. And we've recently broken down from 2018 what the statistics were as of 2018. Now I'm going to pull this up here for you now, and we're just going to discuss it. I do have pie graphs that I'm going to show you guys probably next week or the week after. We're just compiling all of our statistics packages right now, and we're going to have that available and branded and able to show you. But I have it up on my screen right now. I'm just going to show you. So what we've got here is we have Vancouver is far and away the most amount of purchasers and people that own in Whistler. So it's Vancouver, it's areas of Vancouver, it's Fraser Valley. It's also Whistler is another section that actually has most of the buyers that buy in town here. So we have a total of 18% of purchasers come from Whistler. They've indicated they live in Whistler and this is their address. Then we have 29% is Vancouver, so that's metropolitan Vancouver. And then we have 6% Greater Vancouver, 10% North Shore of Vancouver, 8% Fraser Valley, 1% is the Sea to Sky corridor, so let's call it Squamish as well. And so that brings us to 72% of ownership is the Vancouver area and up the highway and including people that live in Whistler. 72% of ownership is in that area. Then we branch out a little bit further. As of 2018, other places in BC comprise 3%. Ontario comprises 3% of ownership. Other spots in Canada is 2%. And this is where it gets really interesting. USA, as of 2018, the USA comprised 9% of ownership in Whistler. So it's certainly not overwhelming. And that 9%, it's probably a solid 70 to 80% of that 9% is out of the Seattle area. So I would say anywhere from north of the Space Needle up to the border. So beyond that, you have 1% out of the UK. Southeast Asia is 2%. Hong Kong is 5%. Mexico is up and coming. Mexico has 1% of the ownership here. And then other countries around the world is another 1%. So that's where buyer origin sits right now in 2018. Now, if we look at properties above $2 million, this is where it gets interesting as well. People buying properties over $2 million in 2018, Vancouver, Whistler, Greater Vancouver, North Shore, Fraser Valley, that all comprised a large amount of it again. So it was around 65, 70%. But then when you shift over to Hong Kong is actually 11% of that ownership over $2 million. Mexico becomes 2% instead of 1%. And other areas in Southeast Asia were 5%. And then we have the UK at 2%. And the US ownership actually jumped up a little bit, 12% in all properties over $2 million. So hopefully that helped you out there. If you have any questions, certainly just type Dean in the comment section below. And I'd love to just reach out to you by Facebook Messenger. And if you found this very valuable, hopefully you did, please share this across your timeline on Facebook and share it with your friends. That would be amazing. So don't forget to ask your questions. And I'd love to chat with you some other time about properties in Whistler. If you have any questions about real estate up here, hit me up. I'm your guy, and we'll talk to you soon.